My dad punished me for refusing a $50,000 cosign, so I bought my sister's lease and shut her store. Christmas is canceled, my dad said at the family gathering, all because I wouldn't cosign a $50,000 loan for my sister's boutique. I didn't argue. I nodded, took a steady breath, and walked out while everyone stared. He wasn't done punishing me. 2 days later, my landlord Pete called. "Hey, Ethan," he said, voice tight. "A man claiming to be your dad asked if you're behind on rent and if you've been acting strange." My hand clenched on the desk. "What did you tell him?" "That you've never missed a payment," he said. But he kept pressing. It felt off. I thanked him and hung up with my stomach dropping. That afternoon, my boss called. "We got a call from a concerned family member. Just checking you're all right." I kept my voice steady and said I was fine. After the call, I stared at the wall and saw the plan. Make me look unstable. If I said no to the loan, he'd make the world say no to me. That night, I cleared my kitchen table and spread out papers. Bank statements, old messages, contracts, court filings. I opened my laptop and wrote a calm, clear letter to the whole family. I listed the failed businesses, the pressure, the way he treats relatives like a bank line. I attached proof that I'd loaned my sister Chloe $15,000 and she never paid it back. I added filings from her past bankruptcies. I took screenshots of the calls he made to my landlord and my job, with timestamps. I checked totals twice and read the letter out loud to check the tone. When I stopped, the clock read 2 a.m. I hit send and sat in the quiet with my heart thumping. In the morning, my phone lit up. My Aunt Linda called, voice shaky, and said she had no idea this pattern ran for years. My Uncle Mike texted that he'd lost $30,000 to one of Chloe's sure thing ideas. Then a short text from my dad. "You made a mistake. Don't make it worse." I looked at that line and knew I'd hit a nerve. For 3 days, nothing. Then my banking app flashed an error. Account frozen. At the grocery store, my card beeped red, and the clerk looked at the long line behind me. I left the basket, sat in my car, and called the bank. A rep said, "We got a fraud report from a relative and froze your account to be safe." I spent 6 hours sending my ID, pay stubs, and statements until they unlocked it. He'd just raised the stakes. I scrolled back through Chloe's lease and saw a line I'd noticed months ago. She used our father's property address in the collateral section for her flagship location. He probably signed without reading. I called an old friend in commercial real estate and asked about options. He ran a title search and pointed out the assignment clause that allowed a transfer. By week's end, I quietly bought the master lease from the landlord. It wasn't cheap, but I'd saved for years, and I was done being pushed. I read the transfer papers twice, signed, and filed the notice with the management company. 2 days later, I walked by her store. Floor-to-ceiling windows, racks of pricey dresses, and a neon sign with her name in loopy script. Chloe paced behind the counter on her phone, face tight, hand cutting the air. I waited across the street and caught the muffled edge of her voice through the glass. She was learning that followers don't pay rent, contracts do. That night she texted, "What did you do? Fix this." The next morning, an email landed from the family attorney. I was removed as a beneficiary of the family trust, effective immediately. I read it twice and called my lawyer. I brought a folder, the bank timeline, and call logs. He said filing a false fraud report is a crime. He drafted a police report about the bank claim and prepared letters about the calls to my employer and landlord. He checked the lease chain on the boutique and confirmed the transfer was valid. The police report went in the next morning. A week later, a letter went out to my father asking him to come in for an interview about the bank report. At the same time, my lawyer served a formal notice to Chloe's company about the lease transfer and unpaid common charges. The notice listed exact dates and amounts and gave a firm deadline. When the deadline hit, I stood on the sidewalk with my lawyer as a locksmith changed the front lock under the right of entry. Chloe arrived 5 minutes later, tried the handle, and stared at the paper taped to the door. She read the notice, looked up, and saw me. For a second, she looked like she might argue. Then she stepped back and said nothing. My phone buzzed again. A new email from the detective's office confirmed the interview notice had been delivered to my father. The locksmith handed over the new keys, and my lawyer nodded. We walked away while the neon sign flickered in the window, then went dark. I turned the corner and let the city noise swallow the last of the quiet. Behind me, the boutique lights stayed off. Now my family is saying I'm cruel for locking the boutique. Was I wrong?